Just before we get started this week, you have probably noticed the update to the website. Now the shadowing exercises are organized by category. So this should make it a little bit easier for you to focus on a specific area of your speaking. And don't forget that this is all part of the learn, try, apply approach to learning language. So in addition to doing these shadowing exercises, you should be noting any new language that you come across and making an active effort to include this new language in your own speaking. That's a very important part of this form of training. It's not enough to just do the shadowing exercises. You have to be proactive, you have to note the new language, and you have to make sure that you are adapting this language into your own speaking. And as you know, if you have any questions about anything, you can always message me at the website. I'm online all day, every day. Okay, let's get to this week's exercise. So we are looking at a Part 2 cue card. And this cue card is on the subject of a walk that you enjoyed. So as you know, in Part 2, you speak by yourself for 1 to 2 minutes. And often the topic involves explaining an experience that you've had. And that's what we see here today. So I will read the cue card to you now. The cue card says, describe a long walk you enjoyed. Please say where you walked, who you walked with, when you walked, and explain why you enjoyed the walk. So in this YouTube video, we're going to look at the first 2 sentences of a scripted response. This response was scripted by an active IELTS examiner. And to access the full response, go to IELTSSpeakingblog.com, where you can access not only this week's full response, but the entire library, which is now at over 25 full exams, all with accompanying shadowing exercises. So once again, the candidate is speaking about a walk, and they start their response by saying, last year, when our country was in lockdown, my best friend and I made a wonderful habit of walking on the weekends. We would set out from our homes and typically walk along the waterfront, which is lovely. So once again, these are just the first 2 sentences of the full response. And in the full response, the candidate goes on to talk about what they spoke about with their friend as they walked, what time of year it was, and what time of day, and also some of the interesting things that they saw along the walk. So it's a full response that addresses all prompts on the cue card. Okay, we will now start the shadowing exercise. If this is your first time doing a shadowing exercise, you have to actually speak as you watch. So you will hear the model, and then you will be given a pause within which to repeat what you have heard. And the key is to be proactive as you do these exercises. So take lots of notes of any new language that you come across, and make a conscious effort to review your notes regularly and try to adapt and adopt this language into your own day-to-day speaking. All right, we will now start the exercise. Enjoy.
Now I would like to ask you to speak for 1 to 2 minutes on a topic. Start speaking now, please.
Last year, when our country was in lockdown, my best friend and I made a wonderful habit of walking on the weekends. Last year, when our country was in lockdown, country, when our country was in lockdown, my best friend and I made a wonderful habit of walking on the weekends. My best friend and I made a wonderful habit of walking habit of walking. Made a wonderful habit of walking. On the weekends. 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 On the weekends. My best friend and I made a wonderful habit of walking on the weekends. My best friend and I made a wonderful habit of walking on the weekends. Last year, when our country was in lockdown, my best friend and I made a wonderful habit of walking on the weekends. Last year, when our country was in lockdown, my best friend and I made a wonderful habit of walking on the weekends. We would set out from our homes and typically walk along the waterfront, which is lovely. We would set out from our homes set out from our homes we would set out from our homes we would set out from our homes and typically walk along the waterfront. Typically walk along the waterfront. The waterfront. The waterfront. Walk along the waterfront. Walk along the waterfront. Which is lovely. 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 Which is lovely. We would set out from our homes and typically walk along the waterfront, which is lovely. We would set out from our homes and typically walk along the waterfront, which is lovely. I hope you found that exercise helpful. Remember to go to IELTSSpeakingblog.com to access the full speaking exercise for this week, as well as the full library of exercises, which is now at over 25 full exams. Thank you very much for leaving a like. I do appreciate you doing this. Good luck with your studies, and we will be together for another shadowing exercise next week.